Welcome to the Freelance Tribe. Here we talk with skilled freelancers about their professional journey. Stay tuned for real-life experiences to learn and actionable steps to take to improve your freelancing career. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Patrick Rossnagel, a freelance front-end developer, mostly focusing on web technologies, and an ambitious person who tries to juggle working as a digital consultant, realizing private projects, and working to be the best version he can possibly be. And today we'll talk about how not to be just a number in recruiters' databases, but more proactive to land more projects. So, welcome, Patrick.
Hi, Yuri. What an introduction. Thanks. Thanks for having
Super
me.
happy to finally talk to you. It's been some time. We're going back and forth, and you told me some time ago, you've told me that what helped you landing projects were reaching out to potential clients and also staying on top of the minds of recruiters. So let's break it into several questions. So, first of all, how do you know who are your clients?
And that's probably one of the trickiest questions. You're getting right into it. So and yeah, to be frank, I don't really have the ultimate answer to this because obviously it's a journey and it's a journey for everyone, and it has been quite the journey for me myself, looking into this freelancing world and how everything comes together in the end. And obviously, one of the biggest part is knowing exactly who you want to talk to, who are your ideal clients, who are you targeting, and what what of your previous experiences actually match that target group. So you have to do some mix and match here and there. And my biggest plus, I would say, is that I have a very diverse background. So I have worked with very versatile clients, in different industries. It has been startups, it has been bigger banks and pharmaceutical companies, like really big corporations. So I kind of ticked all the boxes in different industries, but also I have a diverse background with different working models, so to speak. So I've worked as a consultant, I've worked as an in-house developer. Now I have some experience as a freelancer under my belt. So it's quite the diverse background, let's say. And the same diversity goes with my technology stack. So I'm not really 100% focused on one particular technology and really follow that for a couple of years and really dug deep into it. But I'm more a pragmatic person, looking into finding a solution to a problem. So I know that this client needs this. Needs a solution for their problem that revolves around, I don't know, yeah, just bringing the internal product further. So they obviously have an existing tech stack, and I would have to adapt to that. But on the next client would have maybe a project on the green field where there's no really technology um, uh, bias upfront. So I would be one to actually also decide with the team what technology stack we're going for. And so yeah, for me it's, and that's probably what I like most about this industry itself and about working in this industry, or working in IT in general, is that yeah, you have the chance to really get to know many technologies, many different aspects of developing. And it's not really about the technology itself, but it's about finding the best path, the best way to actually reach a goal. And with this background, which is very broad and very unparticular, let's say, or not really focused on one thing, I probably had the worst start into freelancing, because in the beginning it sounds really nice because I'm here, I can do anything, just let me know what you need. And the market has changed into something that provides lots of these guys, right? So I'm exactly as you said in the beginning, I'm one of many, and I'm just a number in the beginning. And that's how I started. And that's my reality, coming from 22, where things were, green and everyone was happy, and the world was nice to freelancers. That was my starting point when I decided, okay, I will go into freelance, and it's just going to work out because I'm flexible, I can do whatever clients need me to do, and I didn't really have a specialization up front. So I was like, okay, here I am, just let me know what you need and let's go. And the response was not as I expected, obviously. So I started, and I realized really quickly that the response didn't meet my expectations in the end. And I really had to learn really quickly what to focus on and how maybe to change my approach with clients. And also, well, there has been many have been many misconceptions that I had in the beginning of how it would run and how it could turn out. And in the end, most of these expectations that I had were not really met, because everything just had changed so much, and also had changed so much from what I heard from all the others that I talked to previously. And that's why I didn't really see because I had these misconceptions, I didn't really see the need to change upfront and to be very proactive into developing a specific skill set, or maybe highlighting some of my skills that would attract the right clients in the beginning, because I thought that being just a React front-end web developer would be enough, and it used to be honest. And now it's definitely not, because you're definitely one of many. And if you're going through the platforms and applying in projects there, you're definitely one of many. And one of the platforms, they allow you to see how many applications have been received, and there's uh, hundreds of visitors to a project, and maybe a fifth or even half of the visitors to a project apply, and then you're most definitely just a number. So exactly, and that's the probably the follow-up questions. So yeah, coming back to the original question, sorry. Um, who are exactly my clients? That's exactly one of the toughest part to find out, and I really cannot give you the perfect answer to this, because it's a process for me as well, and I have to kind of pick the things that were most fun to me in all my previous projects, and I have to pick maybe those things that I have been working on mostly. But still, looking at those aspects is not really something that I would say is like a super distinguishing factor from others, because in the end, your clients, they have a demand, and you just do your work, and in the end you see that, yeah, many have been doing kind of the same. And even if you focus on those things that you've been focusing on the last couple of years, it may still be something very generic and very exchangeable. And then in the end, you're being a number. You're automatically being mixed and matched between all the application, or all the applicants. And if you're not the cheapest one, if you're not someone who's really outstanding in a specific aspect, then you're very unlikely to actually get into the next stage of a project, and yeah, actually get the project itself.
You know, the fun thing about the cheapest word, what I noticed that, yes, definitely clients try to save their cost, etc., blah blah blah. But it's always some kind of level where you can't go lower than, because otherwise, yeah, maybe it's not experienced person, maybe they don't have experience we have.
Right.
So yeah, it's always interesting to find the balance, how not to be like super expensive, but also not to be super cheap. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's a huge part of it is specifically how you present yourself, so how you stand out. And I'm curious, like you told that your approach changed. So what do you do? What were you doing to really stand out of the crowd, so not to be just as everyone else?
Right. So I started being annoying, and purposely annoying, because I know that maybe I'm annoying in the beginning, but I know that I can make up for it by being a character and being charismatic if I get to the stage where actually I'm able to talk to people. Because if you're a number, and if you write an email or the application through the portals, then there's hardly any chance that you can stand out, apart from having a killer CV that yeah, also is not really that hard to manage, because you can easily fake your CV and then say, yeah, well, this was meant this way, and then you can kind of uh, yeah, talk your way out of it. but getting to that stage where you actually have someone on the phone, or in some personal connection where you can really show why you would be the right person for the job, I think that's the hardest part. And getting to that stage, I had to say, well, okay, I definitely need to um, step back from my previous conception that um, well, you shouldn't get on others' nerves and you shouldn't be bothering. Uh, I started being bothering to everyone, and I just annoy the shit out of them. So if I see a project, then I apply through the platform. I write an email. I try to call them. I find them on LinkedIn, or I find them somewhere else, and I just go through every single channel that I have. Um, just popping up everywhere, and I just write, okay, well, the past showed that sometimes my applications don't go through, so here's an email with my details. Hit me up, and if nothing comes out of it, then so be it. Okay, I'm not being like um, yeah, mad about it. Then it is how it is, right? And but at least that shows that I'm more behind actually applying for something, and being proactive about it, than just applying and then sitting there and waiting it out, because obviously that's not going to land your projects in the end. So and that led to some personal connections, and I think the best thing is if you have them on LinkedIn, then you see what they're posting about. You can obviously say congratulations to their birthdays whenever they come up, but also having these connections over a longer period of time and staying in contact. So if they responded to me and they accepted my LinkedIn invite, then I always have the first question up front. So I was like, okay, well, how do you think? What's the market like? How is it for you? So I'm genuinely interested in how the recruiters are feeling themselves right now, because
Yeah.
obviously it's impacting them as well. One of the recruiters that I've worked with 1.5 years ago when I kind of started. He also has to find a new job right now. So my first question was obviously, okay, how's it going for you? I know that you're highly skilled, and I know that you've shown to me that you know your drill and you know how to do things. So even if you cannot find a good follow-up job in the future, how are others then obviously being affected by this? So I'm genuinely interested in them, as also their they have to go through their lives as well, and also need a well-paying job to get by. So I always want to know how they're doing, if they are struggling, what their conception of the market is, how they see things. So I think that's, uh, I mean, it should be natural, right? To not be asking for a return in the beginning, but to actually start giving something. And I think that giving something can be lots of things. And I think showing genuine interest in someone and their current stage, at what they're at, and what struggles they have, and what hurdles they have in their path right now. I think that's something that definitely sticks in people's minds, and you never know what comes out of it in the end, right? So they might just have you in the back of their heads as someone who is on a personal level, someone who's not just a number.
Yeah.
And they might actually be more inclined to then think of you if something comes up that kind of rings the bell for your tech stack.
One thing that I know, that it's always good to be like real human and to have good communication skills, because if recruiters likes talking to you and they will receive your application and 10 others, for example, people they don't know, or people who are having bad communicational skills, who is hard to talk to, they are humans. They
Yeah,
won't go through a hard part. They will come to the person who they enjoy talking to, who is easy
yeah,
to talk to. And I'm super happy that you mentioned this part, that you have to really do some stuff. You just can't apply and wait, because
yeah,
it's like is like you will be one of hundreds, one of thousands sometimes. And
yeah,
it's something that I'm always trying to tell to freelancers who are applying to projects through 9 a.m. platforms, that I have a feedback, like they tell me like, yeah, I applied and now I'm waiting. I'm like, Did you find them on LinkedIn? Did you send them an email? Did you like connect it with someone from the company, etc.,
Mm.
etc.? They're like, yeah, no, I'm just waiting. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like a week later, so what's happened? Yeah, I didn't have any answers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's also something, right? I mean, the market has changed so much that they have so many applications that they probably don't even have the time or energy to reply to everyone, and that and most of other applicants they might get like yeah, they might get annoyed by that because they feel like, okay, I'm not just a number, I'm even not even worth of an answer. But it's nothing you should take personal, right? Because it's business after all, and if you're not behind something and not chasing something, then well, you're you're definitely not standing out. Then you're actually behaving as the number.
You know, the fun thing that a long time ago, I was this person who, if hear no or no answer, I was like, okay, no, no means no. But then
Right.
I read in some book that no, it's just the beginning of the conversation. And I was like, okay, it's no for now. So let's
Right.
talk. How can we make it into maybe? And then how can we make it into yes? And
Yeah.
you know, I really love your approach into connecting personally with people. And I'm curious, was it something that you had like from the beginning, from childhood, or was it something that you kind of like learned to do? This genuine curiosity.
Right. Um, I think when starting and realizing that things aren't as bright as I expected them to be, definitely made a change in my head where I would think of others and not only about myself. Because obviously, if I'm struggling with 7 years of experience, how are other people struggling that just finished their degrees, right? So how is the market affecting everyone else? And it's not just me struggling, there's many struggling, and at the same time there's also a few that really have their shit together, and they're successful in what they do, and they can keep their rates, and they can even up their rates, and it's all nice and easy for them, or it seems at least at the surface that it's nice and easy for them. But you always never see the big picture, right? You never see how much work they had to put in prior to that, right? How many years of experience do they bring along, how specialized they are in certain technologies, and then maybe at some point it's something that just yeah um, that just keeps going, and there's not much effort you have to put in, but you have to get to that point, and that's a lot of work, and I think it's a lot of work for everyone. I don't think that anyone can say, well, I didn't really have a lot to do, and all of a sudden I was this unicorn and everyone wanted me, and now I can't stop, or now I can't run enough from projects chasing me, right? um, I think there's very, very few people. There may be some of these, but there's very few of them. And I think we all have to see the struggles everyone goes through, and it's a tough time, and it has been quite the reality check for the freelancing scene itself. This year, definitely also for permanent employment, because obviously freelancers are the ones that have to go first. But then, yeah, the market obviously doesn't stop there, and then it obviously it also merges into the actual employment market as well, and that's where people also have their struggles, right? And that's where I think of recruiters that might get laid off, also here in Germany in quite large quantities. So obviously thinking of them and how they're doing and how they're actually struggling and also coping with it and dealing with it is also something you can always learn from, right? So just showing genuine interest because of your own interest, because you might take something out of it, but at the same time you stay in their minds as someone who's not just behaving as a number, but actually trying to to connect with them and see how they're actually doing, and maybe you want to learn something out of it. So there, but I don't think that they have generally the feeling that you're just asking for something at that point.
You know, I also feel like that if you just start with the beginning, when you just met a recruiter or a potential client, and you start like, "Hey, how are you doing? How your day? How is your day going? How are your kids, etc." They might think like, oh, "What a crazy person!
Yeah,
Like, why
yeah,
do they
yeah, yeah.
ask me all those questions?" So I'm curious,
Right.
what is your step-by-step approach. So imagine that you're applying for a job and you see this recruiter, you don't know them. So what is your step-by-step approach to build on those personal, professional connections? So at the end of the day, recruiters call you personally when they have jobs.
That's the $1 million question, right? And obviously, as I'm still in the process of everything, I cannot really give the ultimate answer to this. But I think that sometimes it's not in your control. Sometimes you just ring a bell with some person and they just keep thinking of you because, I don't know, you had a certain hobby, or you kind of you had a way of talking that kind of clicked with them. So whatever it is, you might not even notice it yourself, or you might not even actually put it into the conversation actively. But sometimes something just stick with them, and that's why they thought of you again. But at the same time, many of them you really have to actively stay in their heads. And how to do that, I don't really know.
But how do you do that? So for example, you met a person, you have
Yeah,
their LinkedIn, like what's
yeah,
happening next? Like what is
yeah.
what do you usually do?
So usually I try to maybe. So I tried. My usual approach would be to come up with it, to come up to them, and obviously write the first LinkedIn message saying that I see that the project is this and that. I can imagine that there's lots of applications, and that you're probably not even able to read all of them. So I just wanted to reach out here and be annoying, and maybe have a better chance at getting there this way. So I'm an honest person, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being honest in that way as well. So I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm a number, but I'm a number that annoys you personally on LinkedIn right now. So maybe that's maybe that's better than just being a number. But I also try to kind of realize what their situation is. As in, okay, you probably don't even have time to read my resume. Just hit me up if you have any questions. But two bullet points that I think are the biggest ones that would make me the ideal person for the role. These are the A, B, and C, right? That's something that you can easily do, and you can easily do within the character limit of actually doing the connection request in the beginning. Um, and then obviously what comes out of it, you never know. And there's lots of these that I did, and really very few that actually led to something, to be honest, because obviously I get that they're not really that they're not really uh, as active on LinkedIn as they need to be, or as we would expect them to be, because they don't really see the need, and I get that 100%. But at the same time, it's one of the few channels that I have under my belt that I can use, and obviously I want to make use of it as much as I can. But LinkedIn itself, I think, is something that I would love to get deeper into, because I see from different communities that I'm in that it can be really powerful, and I know that because it's powerful on me. So if I see that certain people are posting constantly, or posting in regular time frames at least, then I definitely see that I myself see them very differently, and I have kind of an urge to get to know them better, depending on, or yeah, based on what they're posting and based on their experiences. And if I think that, then obviously this has a very similar effect to many other people as well. And so I'm very yeah, I would love to get deeper into LinkedIn. I have a list of probably 20 topics that I need to talk about, and that I would have to talk about, I know. But getting to that stage and writing that post, and then refining it, and then I don't know, taking an hour to write it down. I think it's something that yeah, that has to start somewhere. And then once you get the ball rolling, I think it's fine. But getting to that stage is probably my biggest my biggest issue right now, with actually yeah, also getting into that topic of not being a number anymore.
So what if connections do not work? What if there are no good projects for a long time? What should a freelancer do?
Well, that's a very very valid question, and that's something that I think everyone has to be prepared to. Now, with the reality check that we have, it's not as simple as it used to be. Definitely not as simple, and something that obviously makes you question your actual decision in the end. And so it did with me as well. I have been struggling much more than I would have loved to, and my start wasn't really great, and it hasn't been great up until now. So because my current project also ends very soonish, I know that I have to find some follow-up project, and not being able to get even an interview within the last 2 months just shows me that things haven't really changed for the better, at least not yet. Maybe they will soon, but I need something now. I need something realistic, and so the pragmatic person that I am, obviously I'm not just looking at getting into projects in the freelance realm again, but I'm also obviously applying for permanent positions again. So and that's something that took a while for me to actually be happy with, because in the beginning obviously I started, and then I had 3 months of downtime where I didn't have any project at all, which already threw me off, of course, because that's something that I definitely didn't expect. And then I got my first project that lasted for a year, which was great. And then I had the same position again. I was in the same position again, looking for something, not really having any responses whatsoever to my applications on the platforms. And then I had to take a different route again. So I had to get even more personal. So what I did is look into my actual physical vicinity of like some digital agencies that are here in my hometown, or in my town where I live right now, and just cold calling them. Like, here I am. Well, maybe you have projects around the corner. Maybe you have something ongoing where you need someone who can help out. And actually, they all replied. Not immediately, but after a certain amount of time. And one of them actually was my son's friend from kid gymnastic school, where his dad was getting into the car, and I was like, okay, that plate doesn't sound like your last name. What does it mean? And he's like, yeah, it's a company car. Okay, where do you work at? And he was like, yeah, this digital agency here and there. And I was like, okay, well, maybe you need someone like me. So the next time we met at the at the kids gymnastics school, we just talked about their current projects and if they might need someone like me. And that's how I was able to land 2 micro projects, let's say. But that might be something that could be ongoing for a while. So yeah, again, being that person, he didn't know how well I can work, or how good my technical expertise is, because he's also not a technical person. He's more on the LinkedIn and social media side of things. But he introduced me to his co-CEO, and they decided to give it a run, to give it a go, and see how it goes. And obviously, now we're at the stage where I think we've proven to one another that this might work in the long run, and maybe this is just a side gig that comes up every once in a while, and that I can work on smaller projects here and there. And that would have never happened if I wasn't proactively being curious about, okay, what's obviously it's just asking for the car plate is probably not the thing that not the takeaway here, but just asking for, okay, well, where do you work at, what do you do, maybe something comes out of it. So
yeah, just a simple curiosity, just simple conversation going, and you never know where you can find your next opportunity. And
exactly.
Patrick, I really wish to have the sky is the limit, but time is the limit. So the final question, what is your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food. I think it's rice pudding. So it's a very common thing in Germany. It's especially in south of Germany, I think. Um, it's you cook rice in milk, and then you flavor it with, I don't know, hot cherries, or you put some sugar with cinnamon on it, and it's just the best. It's so simple that even I, as the bad cook I am, can do it, and it's awesome. It's probably a little bit of childhood that you just did.
Yeah, totally. And what is the best way to connect with you?
Best way would definitely be through LinkedIn. So Yeah, I think you're probably linking it in the show notes, but I can also say it here. So my name is Patrick Rossnagel. On LinkedIn, in the English version, I have the double S, but I have the scharfes S in German. So you can find me either way, I think.
Got it. Thank you so much, Patrick, for sharing your experience so openly, and such a pleasure to hear and learn from you.
Thank you, Yuri, for the chance.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button on 5 stars and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.